Hey guys, it's Karina with Karina Loves to Plan. Welcome back to my channel. So I've got a different type of video today. I'm actually doing a collab with Katie of the Baker Studio. I will link her YouTube channel down below. And I'm really glad that Katie asked me to do this. She and I have been chatting pretty much daily since, oh gosh, I don't know how long now, but we basically chat daily, and it'll be I say little things, but they've been really helpful to me. Little things like, I am staring at this pen today, and we have really great conversations about pens and inks, and it gets deeper than that, like our buying habits. We came up with the BAM factor, things like that. So she asked me to do a little collaboration with her to do kind of like a fountain pen Q&A, but also a fountain pen review. So I'm gonna have my iPad here so that I can look through the questions. And I have to say, I didn't really prepare for this. I'm kind of just winging it and going with the flow. Okay, so she came up with a list of questions, and I came up with some questions too. So I'm gonna go over these, and then she will also be doing her version on her channel. So when you're done here, go and check her answers out as well. So the first question that she asked was, what is the one pen that I can't stop looking at? And I'm taking that to mean as the one pen that I have in my collection that I cannot stop looking at. And I cannot stop looking at my newest pen, which is the F3 Pens Model 3 in the Moonlit Rodden. The way that this just captures all of the sparkles and the swirls, as you can tell, I'm really getting into the hand-turned pens, and I never thought I would get into them, but I love the look of this. Just the way that it's hard to describe, but the way that the resin and the colors have all they don't blend together. That's the thing that I don't want to see in an acrylic or in a resin like that, is seeing all the colors just blend, meaning that they've been mixed just a little bit too much. I like to see the colors that you can still see the delineation between the different colors, and you can still see that there is blue, there is purple, there is brown, and then you can see the sparkles. I like that there is a specific line, there's a specific, separation between the colors. So I cannot stop looking at this pen. And if it comes to a pen that I don't own, I have been looking at basically any hand-turned pens that have been done in either the pastel and primary manipulation, which unfortunately Carolina Pen Company is no longer making, or any of the primary manipulations, because they're all so different. If you look up Carolina Pen Company and looked at all of the posts they're tagged in, anything that you see primary manipulation, they all look different. And that's what I love about it, because you never know what you're gonna get. It's like a box of chocolates. So that is the first question. What is the pen I cannot stop looking at? Second question, mismatched feelings about the body and nib. So I'm going to take this to mean that I basically had really, really high expectations of the nib based on the body, or you could take it to mean the other way, where the nib basically surpassed my expectations based on a very, very plain body. And for me, the nib that really they don't match up in terms of the way the body looks and the way the pen writes is my Pilot Kakuno. It's such a basic looking pen, but I love that Pilot nib. So you can get the clear demonstrator, you can get the different colors, but it looks like a student pen because that's what it is. But the Pilot nib on it, and I prefer a medium nib, but the nib on it totally doesn't match the body. It feels like a much more luxurious nib than what should go on that body. I love the Pilot nib. But if we're thinking about it the other way, the body of the pen looks so amazing, but then the nib didn't meet my expectations. I'm looking at my pen collection right now, like behind the camera, and I can't really think of one that I still have in my collection. I'm trying to think. Okay, there is one. The TWSBI Diamond 580. Gorgeous pen, beautiful rose gold nib, but the fine nib I found scratchy for me. Even with tuning it, trying to tune it myself, I still found it scratchy. So I had to get that sent off to a nibsmith who I was originally going to get Mark Bacchus to do just a tune and smooth. In the end, I had him make it into a stub, and now I absolutely love it. So now the pen body does match the nib, but initially when I got it, I expected so much more out of that nib based on the fact that it was a 2SB Diamond 580. So those are the two ways that I interpreted that question. The third question, favorite ink I didn't choose. I have to get my ink sample book. Hold on. Okay, so I'm looking at my ink journal here and looking at what was given to me by, you know, in ink swaps and my Secret Santa and sent by, you know, other friends. And just, gosh, there's so many. I mean, Cecilia, Scientist Plant, sent me some. Olga from an ink swap done by Simone sent me some as well. And gosh, it's so hard to choose. But then there's also ones that Sandy of Sandoodle's Desk sent or gave me at Planner's Gonna Plan. This is what I get for not preparing any of these answers ahead of time. Do I have to pick just one? Is it just one that I have to pick? I feel like I'm Brian Goulet when he's asked Q&A, that I can't pick just one. I love, which one do I love the most? It's like picking a favorite. Okay, no. First, I haven't used it yet because I just received it, but I hope to ink it up in a pen next month. I do love Ferris Wheel Press Velvet Ballet, sent to me by Corolla. That was gorgeous, but I haven't used it yet, so how do I know if I would really, really like it? But the Ferris Wheel Press inks are fantastic, absolutely fantastic. Saying that, I did get something from Olga in the ink swap, and I love Amazing Amethyst by Diamine. I'll do a closer look of that, but Amazing Amethyst by Diamine is fantastic. I love purples. Who knew I would love purples? But yeah, those I think would be the two that of inks that people have sent me that I really like, that were, I didn't choose myself, but were sent to me for swaps. My favorite stock nib. The two that come to my mind are either Pilot or Jovo or Jovo or however you pronounce that. I love the Pilot nib. I love the Pilot gold nib that comes on the 18 karat gold nib on the Pilot Vanishing Point. But I also love the Jovo, and I love them for different reasons. I love the Pilot nib because it is buttery smooth, such a buttery smooth nib. I do prefer a medium in that one because the fine is now just too fine for me. But I also love the Jovo nib because even just the ones that I've received on, you know, any of the newest pens that I've got, they're smooth, not buttery smooth like Pilot, but they're smooth with the right amount of feedback. But what I love about them is the ability to change them, or they're interchangeable. You can change them for different, you can basically put a Jovo nib on any pen that has a Jovo nib feed. And that's what I love about it, is that you can interchange these nibs between different pens. So those are my two. Do I have to narrow it down? I think I'm gonna pick Jovo because of the fact that they are interchangeable. But also for a stock nib, they're actually really good quality. And for a steel nib, I like them. I like them. So the next question is favorite specialty nib. That one is hard to choose because I have two favorites. Why do I have to pick one? I have two favorites. I have my, oh gosh, why do I have to choose? Okay, I currently have an Architect nib on my Ranga Zayante Z2, and that one was from Peyton Street Pens, and I love it. Writes so smoothly. It's a fine architect nib, which is perfect for my size writing, and I love the line variation it gives. Gorgeous. But I also love my cursive smooth italics. I have a few now, actually. I got one done by Dan at the Nibsmith on my Pelican M605. I have one on my Laban 325 done by Mark Bacchus of the Nib Grinder. And then I purchased a fine cursive italic from Peyton Street Pens, which I haven't used because my husband is actually using it on his Jinhao. But I do love the cursive smooth italic. It's just such a fun pen to write with, but I also love the Architect. Those are my two. I'm not choosing one. I love them both. I love them both. I'll keep it to that. The pen what was the pen I was most impatient to receive? Ooh. I was impatient to receive all of them, really, but for different reasons. I was impatient to receive my Memento Zero Grande 2.0 in the Angel Skin because it took forever. I think I was most impatient because of the fact that it was something that I hadn't expected to purchase. It was a splurge purchase. It was a purchase that was made because circumstances just fell into the right place. And I was also most nervous about it because of the fact that it was my first Leonardo pen. So this one, yes, I was most impatient to receive because when I made the initial purchase, it was one of those things where I'm like, oh, I felt sick. I felt sick. So I was impatient to receive it because I really wanted to know if I had made the right decision by purchasing this pen. But I think with all of the pens that I've ever purchased, I'm always impatient to receive them because out of all the pens that I have, only one I purchased in a brick and mortar shop. All of the other ones I have purchased online. So there is always this level of being impatient when purchasing pens, and there's always this time period where after you've chosen a pen, you're like, okay, I've got one coming. But then you're like, I still need to look at pens because I don't have the one that's coming yet. So there's always this level of impatience when purchasing a pen. But I think out of the ones that I've done recently, it's the Memento Zero Grande 2.0, just because it took so long to get to me. The next question is, what is the pen that most informed future purchases? I took this to mean, or how am I taking this to mean? Basically, this is the pen that helped me get into a different line of pens or different type of fountain pen. And I think that really was the Laban Rosa in Lilac. And the reason that I say that is because that one was really the first pen that I bought mostly because of looks. And when I say that, it's not that I didn't purchase previous pens based on looks. The looks were probably the smallest part of why I chose that particular pen. Before it was really just based on price and whether it had a gold nib. I was only going to pay a certain price if the pen had a gold nib. The Laban the Laban Rosa in Lilac, I had been looking at since it came out, and I kept telling myself, I'm not paying that much for a steel nib just for a pretty pen. When I finally did purchase it and I had it in my hand, it was like, now I know why I purchased the pretty pens. Because even these pretty pens, even with a steel nib, it writes amazingly. It's one of my favorite pens, and it is comparable to some of the gold nibs that I have. So gold nib isn't everything. When it comes to buying a pen now, I look at the BAM factor. There's 3 different things, you know. Does the look of it really hit me? Like, when I look at it, I'm like, I can't stop looking at it. Is the price good? And what was the third one? What was the third one? It was whether it looks good, the price. I think the third one for me is the nib, really. Whether it's a Yovo nib, if it's something that it can be interchanged. Now that's actually a huge factor for me, whether or not I can interchange that nib. So from that Le Bon Rosa, that really helped inform future purchases, because then I felt like I wasn't so strict with, I have to have a gold nib if it's over this price. Yeah, funny how that works. So the next question, Katie, these are fantastic questions, and I'm kind of glad I'm winging these. Pen that I tried to fight and gave in and bought anyway. That one was an easy one. That is the Sailor Pro Gear Slim in Christmas Pudding. I tried not to buy that one. I only ever bought 2 Sailors before that, and I was like, this is fine. I don't need any more Sailors, because it's basically the same design, basically the same nib, because there's very few Sailors that are offered with all those different types of nibs. So I was fine with the Dragon Palace that I had, as well as the white and rose gold. I didn't need any more. And then Christmas Pudding came around, and I had seen it featured in so many places. I saw it being featured on the Goulet Pens Pencast. I saw it being, like, other people were posting it, and I'm like, it keeps coming back to me. And then I can't remember who it was that messaged me and said, this store in Japan, Goot Gouter, is selling it at a really great price. I'm like, crap, I gotta buy it. So I did, and I bought it in a medium nib rather than a medium fine, and I love it. I love it. That was the one that I tried to fight and not buy, but I bought it anyway. So now the next group of questions are ones that I asked, and I felt like after reading Katie's questions, mine are a little boring, but that's okay. So my first question, favorite shimmer ink. And since the release of all of those Ferris wheel press inks, hard to say. Gotta pull out my ink journal, and you know, what is my favorite shimmer ink? Oh, it is a tough one, because Ferris wheel press have come out with so many, but I haven't had time yet to be able to use all of them to make an informed decision. So let's look through. I did love Ferris wheel press Lady Rose in gold. That one was given to me. I had a sample of that from Sandy of Sandoodle's desk, and I did love that one. That one was gorgeous. I also do love Ferris wheel press Blue Barrel Tonic, like that periwinkle blue with rose gold shimmer is gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. But I also love Diamine Caramel Sparkle and Diamine Cocoa Shimmer and Diamine Enchanted Ocean. Like, those 3 are full bottles of shimmer ink that I have, and it's hard for me to narrow it down to one. Oh gosh, these things are hard because you want one answer. I'm giving you like 5. So I love Diamine Caramel Sparkle. Actually, I love that one over Cocoa Shimmer. Cocoa Shimmer is still pretty, but Diamine Caramel Sparkle, Diamine Enchanted Ocean, Ferris wheel press Lady Rose in gold, and then Blue Barrel Tonic. But oh, I just came across Pelikan Edelstein Golden Barrel. I haven't used that one yet, but it's fantastic. It's so happy, that one. Those are my favorites. Now, the next question I asked is my favorite shading inks. Oh, Sailor comes up with the best shading inks, and I love them. Especially my favorite line of shading inks was the Urameku line that came out this year. The chromo shading inks, because you never knew what shade it was going to be depending on what paper you had. So I'm looking through my favorite shading ink. This is one of those things where I'm like, I really should have prepared for this, because now I'm like questioning whether or not my choices were right. But I did love all of the Urameku line because of the fact that you never knew what the color was going to be. So I'm trying to find the particular, like, there's some here. I've got you know, some of the Amamoyoi and Ichizora and Kyoku. But my favorite out of those is Kitsune Biori. I don't know what it is, but I love the dusty brown that's almost pink. And then sometimes when it goes on the page, it looks lighter and then it dries a different color. Love it. So all of the Sailor Yurameku inks are my favorite shading inks for 2022. What is the pen model or brand that surprised me? I'm looking at them right now behind my phone while I'm filming. And you know what? The pen model or the brand that surprised me was the Angel Shop. This was a fountain pen that I discovered at the Planners Gonna Plan conference, and she is a small shop based in Canada, and she told me that her dad, Angel's dad, is also a collector of fountain pens, so they created this proprietary fountain pen for their shop, and I was surprised at how smooth that fine nib was. Such a gorgeous pen, and that really surprised me for $20 Canadian. A fantastic pen, and they come in so many different colors. My only thing with the Angel Shop pen, the fountain pen, is that they come with proprietary cartridges. I don't know of any converters that will fit in them yet, but I just clean out the cartridge and refill it with the ink that I like. So that was the brand that really surprised me. So the Angel Shop. My favorite brand. Oh, I don't know. I don't know. I'm looking at my pens right now. I don't know because I'm still exploring the smaller independent makers. But if we were looking at just brand, okay, so if we're looking at just brand and not looking at any of the small independent makers, my favorite brand, I'm basing it on the fact that I love writing with these pens and want to buy more of them. Laban. Laban for the pens, because I was thinking, like, I love Pilot and I love their nibs, but I don't have any yearning to buy all of the Pilot pens. They look, yes, sleek and classic, but they're very streamlined in terms of their design, and it's not always something that I find that works for me. Whereas with Laban, the design of them and the different colors and things, but I also know that the nib is a beautiful writer. It's a great writer. So Laban right now is my favorite brand, and I love that they have inks as well, and I've tried a few of their inks and I love their inks. So Laban is currently the brand that I love. All right, and the last question, favorite accessory. Ooh, I was going to say, firstly, a blunt tip syringe. And the reason that I love a blunt tip syringe is because of the flexibility that it allows to be able to fill up a cartridge or a converter with any ink that you want. But you can also really clean out that cartridge. So it really just allows you that flexibility to be able to fill up anything except a piston or a vacuum filler, or fill up any pen with any ink that you like. So my other favorite accessory, these brass sheets. They're small but mighty. These things, like, they really are helpful for putting in between the tines of your nib if you ever feel like it's scratchy or if there's something gunk stuck between them. Or I have seen people as well who put brass sheets in between their nibs to help with the ink flow. So brass sheets, you can get these at PenChalet or Goulet Pens, but they are a fantastic accessory. So that is my fountain pen Q&A. If you guys have any other questions about fountain pens or inks, let me know down in the comments below. I love answering these questions. I think they're just so fun to do. But then, yeah, just as a quick review, going into 2023, Katie and I were discussing as well, like what our rules were for buying pens going into 2023. And I did come up with a rule for myself that I was not going to do a no spend, because I find with no spends, once it's done, then I go crazy with all the spending, which then means that I have to do another no spend because I just spent too much. So we're looking at a more controlled spend where, you know, I'm going to put this in positive language. I can buy one pen a month, and I have to use funds in a specific account. So I'm putting funds away to have a budget for fountain pens, and only using that budget for all of my fountain pen purchases. And it also has to really hit me in the bam factor, hit me in the feels with that. So those are my rules really for buying fountain pens in 2023. When it comes to inks, I haven't really had the inclination to buy inks recently because I have a lot. I'm looking at it behind my phone right now. There are a lot there. So I think for me, when it comes to inks, I will not buy any bottles. Actually, I'm making that a rule around. I don't plan on buying any bottles in 2023. If I have to, if I want to try an ink, I need to try a sample first. And I know that there are some places that do not offer samples. So unfortunately, I guess that means that I won't be able to try that ink. But with inks, even if I finish the sample, I won't buy a bottle of ink. I'll just buy another sample. And I know that that isn't the most cost-effective way, but at the same time, I have enough bottles of ink here that will last me for the rest of my life. So I don't need to buy any more bottles. So those are my buying rules for fountain pens and fountain pen inks for 2023. What are yours? Please let me know. And I will also in the description below list all the questions in this Q&A. Thank you guys for watching me waffle on for how long I've been waffling on for. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and thank you to Katie for conspiring with me to do this. Again, thank you guys, and have yourselves a great day.